I'm always talking about how important it is to get great source tracks, great source tones, great performances up front, and how that impacts your final mix and the quality of your mix way more than any plugin or EQ or compression that you can do in the mix phase. So I figured, what better way to make that point and drive that point home than to just actually show you. So that's what I'm going to do in this video. I've got a few tracks lined up here, and these are all songs that I produced, engineered, and mixed start to finish. And I'm going to show you what they sounded like on the last day of tracking, and then what they sounded like after the final mix. So here's the first track by a band called Kingdoms. Now I'll play the rough mix, and then I'll jump into the final mix. So this song is actually a song that I tracked with this band as part of the Pro Production System. It's the Pro Tracking module. So members of that course, you can see me actually record that entire session with the band in the studio, start to finish, and then all the editing and all the way through to the final mix. But the rough mix here is literally the mix that we bounced out from the studio, like on the last day of tracking and filming there. That's what it sounded like coming straight off of the board. Before I actually mixed it and even finished any of the vocal editing too. Play a few more sections here. It's not that crazy, right? Like it's the same tones, it's the same sound basically, but it just is pumped up. You hear the low end fill out and the bass gets louder and the drums get punchier and there's a nice polish and sheen over it, and it sounds a bit bigger overall, but it's not like the mix is, reinvented. So let's check out another example, and this is kind of in a totally different genre here. So this one I feel like is even less of a difference, and same deal here. This was the rough mix basically on the last day of tracking. And in all these examples, obviously there's some work done here, and how I like to work is obviously capturing great tones and great performances as good as I can up front. But then as I'm building the project with the band in the studio, I am kind of, I guess, quote, mixing it as I go. I'm putting EQ and compression on track, just really quick and dirty stuff, like no in-depth anything. It's just like, you track the vocals, throw in a compressor plugin, quick EQ, boom, done. Like 1 minute. Same with the drums. Bass and guitars, usually not much going on there, plugin wise during tracking, but this is basically where the session is built up to when the band goes home and before I actually really dive deep into mixing. So I'll show you a little more here.
Yeah, cracking that say, drink again, alone till you sleep, choking on words that you can't seem to speak.
Let's check out the ending here.
You dug the grave that will bury you in. You dug the grave that will bury you in.
That's pretty cool, right? That song sounds like very, very close from rough mix to final mix. It's all about just getting a little more energy and size out of it. Now here's one final track. This is from Silverstein, the song Midwestern State of Emergency. So here it is on the rough mix. So once again, pretty close there. And even in sections, where we have effects and dropouts, try to take care of that even during the production phase. That's the rough. Here's the final.
Don't know whose side I'm on anymore.
So I don't really know what more there is to say. I mean, I think just hearing those A/B examples should be enough to really start turning the gears in your mind, like it did for me. Once I started hearing pro producers ahead of me talking about this and how important the source was, and then analyzing their work and listening to the performances and thinking, wow, like it really is perfect. Like it's all there. And then actually seeing that happen in real life, I got to watch the Jonas Brothers record happen. And then I heard that final mix, and it really drove the point home where I was like, wait a second, like that Chris Lord Algae mix sounds basically the same as the source tracks I heard in the studio. So all those things kind of really drilled it into my mind. So I want to drill this into your mind too. And look, if you're someone who is really used to just totally blowing up your tracks during the mix phase and like reamping everything and completely changing the drum sounds and going over and over things again and second guessing and starting over and all this stuff in the mix phase, I really hope that what I just showed you kind of just dismantles all of that, because you're not going to get ahead doing that. You have to get great source tracks, great performances. And that's why when it comes to the training program that I have called Pro Production System, I show you all this, okay? It's not just a mixing course. I couldn't in good conscience just show you a bunch of mixing stuff, because if you don't have this right, it doesn't matter. So that's why, like I said, that first track I showed you, inside my program, we show the entire process of actually tracking that start to finish, mic positions, how to get the performances, even if, there's trouble with the band being able to play the parts well. All of that's covered, and all of that is super important because you need to be able to get that quality of source tracks no matter who comes in, no matter what project it is, and that's what's going to enable you to easily and quickly get that pro caliber final mix. So hopefully this was eye-opening for you. Last week I also published a video showing the before and after of the final mix to a final master. So if you enjoyed this one, you'll probably like that one as well. So check it out. Talk to you next time.